Hey, welcome back, guys. Episode 9 had just about all the action we anticipated, and then some. Plenty of dirt was uncovered, previous lies exposed, and bodies buried. There were some major revelations placed on the table for all parties to see. And going into the season finale, secrecy is no longer a factor. Tariq's season-long sin is perhaps the largest of these secrets, and will make for an explosive testimonial in the season finale. I'm here to break it all down for you in typical Top 10 WTF fashion. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. Lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things power. Here we go. WTF moment number 10, Franken-Kane. The episode kicks off with that grisly shot of Kane from the trailer disposing of an array of body parts. What the trailer did not show us was Guap's presence, which is interesting to say the least because the parts they're disposing of turns out to be Guap's former henchmen, the same ones Kane disposed of during his retaliation hit on the GTG for Zeke. It's one thing to extort Guap and use him for all he's worth, but to mandate his participation in the disposal of his own soldiers may prove to be detrimental for the Tejada fan favorite. We'll keep a close eye on how things develop between the two frenemies. WTF moment number 9, there's been a murder. At Stansfield, we meet Detective Sam Santana, who's investigating the murder that took place in 108 during the big game. Santana confers with a variety of Stansfield staff, including the full Canonical Studies Department and Dean Brooks, who we haven't seen since the pilot, regarding the nature of the murder and implication that any of their students could be involved. We learned during this scene that Carrie is in fact a former prosecutor, which explains much about her character and accompanying inclinations. Additionally, it makes her previous mention of Davis McLean and their former association sensible to the audience. The faculty maintains that their students couldn't have been involved in such a nefarious activity. Santana really struck a nerve with Carrie and Jabari in particular by deciding to focus the investigation on the black and brown students. The profiling suggestion is strongly condemned, but another solution is reached. The students will instead reveal what they know to Jabari, per Carrie's suggestion, confidentially. Jabari's meddling in the matter was textbook for his character to this point, as he, like the rest of us, wasn't lost on the chemistry between Santana and Carrie, and the potential cheek clappage that could emanate from their mutual attraction. WTF moment number 8, a monster explained. What makes someone a monster? That's the question posed by Jabari Kelly during this week's book discussion, the subject being Frankenstein and its racial and societal implications. During the discussion, Lauren is checked pretty harshly by Jabari, the latter deeming her response too simple and far removed. He apparently wasn't the only one with those sentiments, because as the analysis progressed towards prison and systemic obstacles for minorities, Tariq and others got in on the Lauren shut your ass up fest. Her limited perspective on crime and punishment rubbed her fleeting love interest entirely the wrong way, given his circumstances with Tasha being locked down. In defense of his mother, Tariq stated that everyone thinks the creature is a monster because of the way that Frankenstein made him, but maybe it's the way Frankenstein treated him. Maybe that's why the creature's a monster. This quote is one of self-reflection for our new series lead. Unbeknownst to his collegiate contemporaries, Tariq's backstory and upbringing gave birth to the monster that sits before us, and the book choice, along with later events in the episode, are nothing short of poetic with this context in mind. Also, his riff with Lauren here has only widened the gap between their romance, almost cementing its null and void status. The argument I made in this video is extremely glaring following their exchange. Lauren is no closer to truly understanding Tariq, and probably never will due to their own differences. Her stating that, quote, murderers and drug dealers should be in jail holds more weight, as she has been cavorting with the murderer and the drug dealer, who's still struggling with both personas to maintain his humanity. Gotta raise my glass to the power brass here. Y'all really showing out in that writer's room, all things considered. WTF moment number 7, who you with? Drew pays Kane a visit and confronts him for occupying the family corner boys. Kane justifies his actions, but Drew warns him against the repercussions per Rico's drug drop-off. Kane, as belligerent as ever post-banishment, tries to appeal to his brother to go against Monet and run the streets alongside him, drawing a clear line in the sand for his brother to ponder. You're either with me or against me. But it's like the great Obi-Wan Kenobi once stated to his old friend once he turned, only a Sith deals in absolutes. I'll do what I must. WTF moment number 6, Paul's flash. Sax and McLean pay Epiphany a visit, hoping to sway her into testifying. They tell a plethora of lies to the enjoyable stripper, who's quick on her feet despite these overtures. However, their trickery eventually wins out, and Epiphany agrees to take the stand under the guise of defending Tasha's case and innocence. Unbeknownst to our legal pair, however, Stephen Ott and the DNC are tracking their movements, with the photographer stashed to ensure their interests are met. WTF moment number 5, Monet's warning. Monet puts 2 and 2 together regarding Zeke and Carrie's clandestine relationship. This is mostly due to Diana's revelation about the index card in Reek's bag, Zeke's erratic behavior following the drowning at the school, and her own observation of the two in action during homecoming weekend. As Carrie enters her dark office, Monet greets her sinisterly, frightening the beautiful professor. Monet then reveals her knowledge of Carrie and Zeke and threatens her job and livelihood if Zeke takes the fall for the Stansfield murder. This is the Monet we love to see, and Carrie better tread lightly before it's too late. WTF moment number 4, the creature's epiphany. Tariq visits Epiphany, following Tasha's coded message through Paula to remove the whimsical stripper from the board. While talking with her, she reveals to Tariq that Davis and Sax previously visited her and wanted her to testify on behalf of Tasha, or so she thought. Apprehensive to their desires, Epiphany declares that if she had the money, she'd make a run for it. Unbeknownst to her, Tariq is planning to kill her the entire time until these revelations are made clear. To preserve his humanity and possibly his rational mind, Reek decides to give Epiphany the capital necessary to get out of Dodge, as opposed to catching his third body. This is the second life he's saved out of the 4 he could have potentially taken. So if he's not a monster, he's most certainly halfway there. WTF moment number 3, broken alliance. Epiphany doesn't show up to court per Sax's request, courtesy of Tariq in the 11th hour. Believing he's been double-crossed for the last time, Sax loses it on McLean. He accuses McLean of meddling in his prosecution, falsely believing Davis used Paula to consummate the deception. He subsequently threatens McLean with photos of their visit to Epiphany, further promising to nail Tasha, Tariq, and Davis. Once back in the courtroom fold, he vindictively calls Tariq to the stand, but not before telling Stephen Ott to shut up with that bullshit. Davis loses Paula due to the fallout as well. He finally reveals the truth to his legal assistant, who scolds him upon learning of his indiscretions. Her grievances with him are mounting, given their own secret lover status and his disregard for her feelings in that realm. She abruptly quits on Davis, his lies being the root of his potential downfall. But it's like the incarcerated R&B legend once crooned, "When a woman's fed up, there ain't nothing you can do about it." WTF moment number 2, death before dishonor. Tariq receives a call from his mother, warning him about the coming subpoena to testify via Sax. Tariq tells her not to worry and that he'll never see the stand, cryptically speaking as he ends their conversation. Reek gets to the bar and reveals to Monet that he doesn't have her money, fully accepting the dire consequences to follow. Monet ups the banger on Tariq, threatening his life just as coldly as she sent her own son away. Tariq acknowledges his fate, surprisingly stating that he deserves it. During this admission, we see an emotional montage of every family member and friend he's ever crossed from book 1, including Lakeisha, Tommy, Raina, and his own father. During the intense exchange, Rico and his crew pull up and begin shooting up the bar viciously. Tariq covers Diana, saving his future baby mama's life. However, Drew foolishly decides to make a run for a gun that probably would have done nothing, by the way, and gets hit as a result. Rico and the gang pull off just as Kane arrives. Monet pulls a strap on her eldest son and orders him to assist with saving Drew's life. And WTF moment number 1, Frank and Kane's revenge. Kane meets up with Ramirez, appealing for his help and once again removing Tariq post his brother's shooting. Ramirez acknowledges their prior deal, then in true power fashion, flips the script on Kane, stating that Monet needs him now more than ever. Thus, there's no need for him to help Kane any longer. Infuriated by the betrayal, coupled with the strenuous events of the night, Kane takes out his frustrations on the compromised cop in murderous fashion. He leans Ramirez in the face, kicks him for good measure, then shoots him dead while he's pleading for his life. This removal will have major ramifications for the fallen Tejada, as Ramirez is not just law enforcement, but one of Monet's final allies that could prove useful to her going forward. Bad move, Kane, yet understandable nonetheless. Some lingering thoughts before we end today's video. The theme of episode 9 was based on Mary Shelley's classic tale, Frankenstein. It was focused on Tariq accepting himself for the monster he's become, and Kane, on the other hand, being outcast for the monster he was created to be. Both characters' actions stem from the resolutions they've reached. Tariq saving a life due to his acknowledgement of what could be, and Kane taking a life due to his realization of what will never be again. In both instances, the two opposing characters represent the ambiguous nature of Frankenstein's monster. The creature was neither bad or good, protagonist nor antagonist. Much to the contrary, the creature was a representation of his conflicted creator. And by using this narrative, the Power Brass brilliantly painted this emotional picture that we've just witnessed. Though rumored all season, there were no signs of the Chancellor in this episode, or 2-Bit for that matter, outside of the opening text to Tariq demanding $50K. One of the two will certainly return in the season finale, if not both the way this crazy season is going. I maintain that Tasha will be exonerated, and right when she is, Tommy will enter the chat. We'll see if the ball bounces that way. When Monet rebukes Kane after Drew's shooting, it's arguably one of the most heartbreaking scenes next to his initial banishment. Kane, in theory, is Frankenstein's monster in the negative sense, shunned by his creator and adversely affected as a result. The longer this dynamic continues and the shame of Kane's being festers, it spells bad news for the Tejada Collective. Remember, in many adaptations, the monster swears vengeance on his creator once his need for love and acceptance is rebuffed indefinitely. This is going to be a crazy finish with that in mind. I think it's safe to say that the lovely Caridad Milgram has sealed her death certificate by overstepping her boundaries with Zeke and subsequently talking to the police. Her time may be up come episode 10, but not before one last cheek clapping for the road, courtesy of Sam Santana. Their chemistry was inescapable on screen, much to the chagrin of the infamous Jabari Kelly. Ironically, you'd think Jabari would be the one under fire based on his actions over the last couple of episodes, but I gotta admire the homie's ability to hold frame through it all, simping notwithstanding. It will be Carrie who catches the strays this go-round. We'll see how it concludes for the Eric Jerome Dickey-inspired pair. Speaking of those on the hit list, I thought Zeke was definitely a goner when Monet asked him to stay the night. She's already proven to be as ruthless as they come by banishing Kane and suggesting Drew should have killed him. And the murder of a loose end, even a beloved one, wouldn't be outside the realm of comprehension despite his value to the family. That value would be invalidated if the family goes down anyway. Definitely a scenario to watch going into the finale. The quote, "Drew always comes home," is a callback to 104, when Monet first discovered Drew's drawing of Everett. She stated then, quote, "Nobody's gonna have your back like your family. You always come home. Remember that." Kane reiterates the sentiment as a reminder that Drew's gonna pull through, but his flock was having none of that. Diana, his once ardent defender, slaps and scolds her brother, and Monet follows suit, telling Kane to run away, similar to Scar in The Lion King. Run away and never return. This scene was brutal emotionally speaking, as Kane's appeals for sympathy were direct correlations to that of Frankenstein's monster to his creator, nearly bringing this commentator to tears when Kane replied, quote, "You made me this way, Ma." I'll be delving into this topic in greater detail in my upcoming Part 3 video on the fate of Kane. Finally, Tariq confessed his greatest sin to Tamika, who made her triumphant return this episode and will be of much value to Tariq and the St. Patrick's at large going forward. Rick agreed not only to testify, but to convey the truth in order to save his mom. If followed through, it'll be the most sacrificial thing he has done throughout the series, and a major transition in his overall story arc. Though I think Tariq won't hide in the shadows of his deception any longer, We all know there's a twist in mind. I'll be further digging into what he could possibly say in a video later this week, so keep an eye out for that one. Everything is on the table, and all secrets have been revealed. We're in for a crazy finish to this stellar first season. Thank you for watching today's video. How do you think all of this will play out in the season finale? Be sure to drop me your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. As always, if you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are Power Ghost fans, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.